Welcome to BNews Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNews Director Rich Hosford, BNews reporter Robert Parrish, Peter Brown with the weather, Matt DiMarzio with sports, and Ian Casciola with the Community Bulletin Board. We trust that you all have recovered from last week's Patriots win in the Super Bowl. My prediction was pretty close. However, little did I know that half the hearts in New England would stop beating before the Patriots won it on the final play. The Burlington Police Department has arrested 3 men as a result of a reverse prostitution sting that was part of a greater effort to crack down on sex crimes in multiple states. Ellison Neo, 37 of Northborough, James O'Donovan, 48 of Newton, and Edgar Sazo, 43 of Lynn, were arrested and charged with solicitation of sexual conduct for a fee, a release from the Burlington Police Department stated. Authorities say the 3 men were arrested on Friday, February 3rd at a hotel in town that partnered with Burlington Police to conduct the sting. According to police, this was part of a 2.5-week operation with the National John Suppression Initiative, a joint effort between police agencies in 15 states that targets the illegal sale of sex acts. Burlington Police regularly conduct prostitution sweeps, focusing on those that occur over the internet using local hotels in town as meeting places. Since 2013, the Burlington Police Department has made 27 arrests from prostitution-related sting operations. Following their arrests, Nito, O'Donovan, and Sazo were transported and booked at the Burlington Police Department and later released on bail. The Middlesex Sheriff's Office says hundreds of people who were walking around with active warrants were arrested last year. According to a press release, over 300 people with outstanding felony warrants were arrested by members of the Middlesex Sheriff's Office Warrant and Apprehension Unit in 2016. The Warrant Apprehension Unit is primarily tasked with locating and apprehending fugitives wanted on felony warrants issued within Middlesex County. The unit also assists municipal police, the Massachusetts State Police, and federal law enforcement agencies, including the U.S. Marshal Service. They help with locating and apprehending individuals wanted in other jurisdictions. The Sheriff's Office says that those apprehended last year were wanted for charges including attempted murder, kidnapping for extortion, indecent assault and battery, and firearms-related offenses. Additionally, deputies successfully completed 15 renditions, returning individuals to Massachusetts from as far away as Arizona and Texas to face charges ranging from witness intimidation to rape. Among those returned to the Commonwealth to face charges was a 43-year-old Texas man wanted in connection with a 2004 sexual assault in Somerville. In total, Warrant Apprehension Unit members cleared 629 warrants, 799 felony charges, as well as an additional 737 misdemeanor charges, according to the department. A bit of TD Garden action was in Burlington this week as the Council on Aging hosted a floor hockey game with the members of the Boston Bruins. BNews reporter Robert Parrish was there and files this report.
She scores! Last week at the Council on Aging in Burlington, seniors got an opportunity to play floor hockey with players from the Boston Bruins. There are many participants on the ice, and one of the goalies who stopped pretty much every goal was none other than Burlington Selectman Mike Runyon.
Oh, I thought it was a blast. What a great idea. The Boston Bruins and Leahy Clinic partnering up and coming here to Burlington to our COA Center. I thought it was fabulous. I'm happy to be a part of it. Hey, you know what? I stopped them all. I don't know how many shots on that. Robert, were you counting? How many shots did I stop? All of them, right? All of them. Doesn't matter how many there were. I stopped them all.
Representatives from Leahy Hospital and Medical Center were there, not to help any injured players. Fortunately, there weren't any. Instead, they helped sponsor this special event.
Leahy has a 5-year partnership with the Boston Bruins, and we're the official health and wellness sponsor, working with the Bruins and really working with them to bring health and wellness opportunities out into the community. Today's event was a great one where we're able to bring it out to the senior center and really working to promote wellness for audiences of all ages.
Another player who was a bit of an aggressive one, but scored the winning goal in a shootout, was Bob Creek.
It was a hell of a lot of fun. Yeah. The best part for me was not falling down on my face and making a fool out of myself. But it was a lot of fun, and I hope that other people get an opportunity to do it. It was something I'd never done before. It's, as with most things, a lot of things are fun when you first do them, but they're a lot more fun when you can tell stories about it afterwards. So this will be a story.
Opportunities like this one don't come often, and COA Director Marjorie McDonald said it was a great time for everyone who participated in the event.
Because I wouldn't say no to an opportunity like this. They had such a good time, and that's what we're about, is getting seniors out, getting them active and keeping them active and giving them great opportunities. For one thing, it shows that seniors are active and they're not sitting on their sofa watching TV. I mean, they were playing out there with real players, and they were really hitting that puck around.
The seniors had a great time participating in the event, and playing with the Bruins was Frank Vetrano.
No, it was pretty cool. Just coming in and doing it with the older community is obviously something that I've done before, but not on this level. It's pretty cool to play hockey when you come to an event like this. So it was pretty special. It was awesome to see everyone's energy and how everyone enjoyed it. The Bruins do a good job at giving back to the community and reaching out to fans and kind of spending time with them. So it's stuff that we do probably something that we have probably going on every week. So it's something that we like to volunteer for and do.
From the Council on Aging, I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Weekly.
Artwork and writings by the Boston Globe. Burlington High Principal Mark Sullivan said congratulations to all the middle and high school students who received individual gold keys, silver keys, and honorable mentions at the annual Boston Globe Scholastic Art and Writing Awards competition. The Scholastic Art and Writing Awards have existed since 1923, and the contest affords students across the country the opportunity to be recognized for their talents. At the regional level, students are selected to receive the gold key, the silver key, or honorable mention. Additionally, each state nominates 5 selected gold key level awards as American Vision and Voices nominees to be further judged with the hope of achieving the distinction of Best of Show. At the national level, regional gold key works will advance to be judged for gold or silver medals. In Burlington, over 20 students received keys of different levels for their writings and artwork. You can see the full list at www.bcattv.org/bnews. Burlington High School held its 2017 Poetry Out Loud finals this week to select a student to represent the school at the state semifinals in March. BNews Director Rich Hosford was there and files this report.
Homesick for forests, flowers without names, vast savannas, lowlands or mountains teeming with game, bluffs crowned with cottonwood, mudbanks where crocodiles might sun themselves. Finding instead the remains of strange picnics, replications of old selves, a cacophony of changes like a room crowded with chairs in which no one can sit, as if history were furniture, grown splintered and shabby.
Burlington High School's Fogelberg Auditorium was alive with the sounds of poetry on Tuesday as the school's finalists for the 2017 Poetry Out Loud competition recited their memorized verses for the judges in front of a large crowd. The event was organized and hosted by Burlington High School English Department Chair Benjamin Lally.
This is a program that is now in its 12th year statewide. It's our 11th year doing it here at Burlington High. It came from what was seen as a need to just have poetry come back into the high school classroom or into American life, where the organizers felt that this was a chance to have the same sort of enthusiasm that you might see for a basketball game or for a school play for something that's poetry related.
Mr. Lally said all the students in the school participate by memorizing a poem and competing in their classrooms. The school finalists must memorize 2 poems for the final intra-school competition. He said he believes bringing more poetry into the school is good for the students and enriches their lives.
I think what we gain the most is this accessibility to other people having felt the same experience that you have had, and that seems really obvious to say, but I think that there is something to be said about hearing a poem on our stage, reading one in a book, reading one in class, and having that ability to connect it to your own experience, which I don't know if that happens as much with music on the radio, with novels that we read, with movies that we watch. But I think with poetry, there is almost this immediate connection that you can find or that you can make between what somebody else is processing through their writing and what you process in reading it, which is why I think that it's valuable to have it be something that we're still aware of, still read and still think about.
Mr. Lally also said he appreciates the poetry challenge because it provides the students with a piece of artwork they can connect with, and at the same time pushes them to confront the difficult and often scary prospect of public speaking.
I would love it if students kind of had this well of poems they could pull from in processing something that's really exciting, really sad, really tragic, really confounding in their own lives, as a way of kind of helping process it. As far as the performance element, one thing I really enjoy seeing in our hallway every year for the students who don't even go beyond the classroom, but this is something that's very, very difficult for a lot of people. Public speaking is rated as the #1 fear in America, beyond death even, which is absurd. Us having the chance to have a student confront that fear and get past it or overcome it, I think is something that is very, very valuable. I really think that we try as a department to not just have this only be about who is the champion of Burlington High School, but where do we see students challenge themselves? Where do we see students who really take something very seriously that could be dismissed just as easily? Where do we see students who actually try to connect with something that is outside of them? And those are the moments that I really enjoy the most in our performances here.
He praised all the finalists who recited poems in the competition and said this year was a high watermark for the students' performances.
We are always, every year our response is pretty much the same, which is that we thought last year's was good. It seems like every year across the board, the finalists come in incredibly well prepared. You saw this year some immensely difficult poems. I think we had more poems reaching back over 100, 200 years than I've ever seen before in the finals. People taking on that challenge. The poise of the students in front of the microphone, I think that with no disrespect to the way that the judging came out, I think it would not have been much of a surprise in the auditorium if it had been 4 completely different kids on the top 3. I think that it was really that close and the performances were just that strong across the board.
The Burlington High winner this year was Gadi Ahir, who performed Sonnet 1 by Sir Philip Sidney, a difficult poem written in the 1500s, and To Live with a Landscape by Constance Erdang, a long poem by the standards of the competition. She will be going on to the state semifinals in Framingham this March, where on top of her 2 poems, she'll have to memorize a 3rd, something that was hitting home shortly after the results were announced.
I'm kind of shocked. There was a lot of hard competition. And everyone did really great. I'm kind of happy I won, but still I need to memorize a 3rd poem now.
So how long does it take to memorize the poems for the competition?
The really long one, the 54-line long one, I ended up memorizing it in a day because it just kind of called out to me. So that's the only reason I do a 54-line poem. That was fairly easy to memorize. The one that I did first, Sonnet 1, that was a lot harder to memorize. The language was weird. It was old. But they were both, it's really easy to memorize a poem if you get really passionate about it.
Finally, as for the fear of public speaking Mr. Lally spoke of, Gadi said that wasn't an issue for her.
I like when people listen to me.
Congratulations, Gadi, and good luck in the semifinals and hopefully beyond. At the Fogelberg Auditorium, I'm BNEWS Director Rich Hosford.
Congratulations, Gadi. You'll make a great politician. The American Legion Writer Chapter from the Millican-McKenzie Post 273 kicked off its fundraising for 2017 with its annual chili cook-off. Let's have a look.
Hi, it's chilly outside, but the chili is hot inside. We're here at the American Legion for the 3rd annual chili cook-off, and we'll be right back with the organizers of the event, Annie Ballman.
The coins are for the person who loves the chili the most. They put it right inside their box. The person who has the most votes obviously wins.
And tell us about it. This is the what number?
Well, it's the 3rd annual chili cook-off put on by the American Legion Writers here at Burlington Post. We have 17 cooks that have come and donated their time and their wonderful dishes for us this time. It's more than I expected.
Okay, and it's a benefit for?
The money that we're raising, it's $10 per person to come through the door and taste the chili, and the money goes for the veterans programs that we're going to be sponsoring throughout the year.
I tried them all, and I made it a point to make notes on each of the preparers. I had it down to 3, now I have it down to 2. Now I'll make my decision based on the last try of the two contenders.
I am here with Teresa Tarpey, better known as Terry. And she is the 2016 reigning chili cook-off champion here at the Legion. So a couple of questions. How do you stack up against this year's competition?
I don't know. It's pretty tight this year. There's a lot of great chilies out there, and people put their heart and soul into making their chili. So it'd be interesting to see.
A much bigger field this year than last year?
Not a lot bigger, but yeah, bigger. They do have more entries this year.
And
yeah.
who are you concerned about as...
My sister. My sister, yes. But my sister's a close second, and my kids actually last year voted for her.
Really?
Yes,
Your children?
they did. Yeah.
How much loyalty was there?
I know, there was no loyalty. They told me they were raised to be honest, and they thought hers was better. So.
Really? Well, there's always a favorite aunt, too.
This is true, too.
This one here in February, Chili Cook-Off starts off our season. We start from January, but this starts off our season. What this does is it allows us to raise some funds so that we can go on and continue on throughout the season, our riding season actually, as far as doing rides for, this year we'll be doing rides for Homes for the Troops and the American Legion Legacy Fund. Last year
That's a scholarship fund.
That's a scholarship fund. That's a post 9/11 scholarship fund for all KIAs in the military. And what it does is that provides money to the surviving family members, children, and so on and so forth, so they can get a good education, go to college, continue education, whatever they need to do. Right. So that's what that's all about. And the Homes for the Troops is an organization that what they do is they build or they'll remodel special homes for special needs veterans coming back that are wheelchair bound or, amputees in some way or another or need some kind of special accommodations, basically.
Right. It's pretty well attended at this point. All the Legion fellows seem to be here. Is it growing on an annual basis?
Absolutely. Last year, the cooks alone, we only had, I think, 10 cooks last year. We have 17 this year. It's growing by leaps and bounds. Our membership and all of the people behind me enjoying the chili is also growing exponentially. I'm very excited that we're going to be bringing in this much money for our veterans.
I'm here now with Bob Hogan, longtime Burlington Veterans agent, now retired, going on your second year?
Yes, second year.
And let me ask you this, what is retirement like?
It's everything it's cracked up to be, as far as I'm concerned.
And you're spending your time with your grandson?
Yes, I am. One of the reasons for the retirement, it was an incentive for me and Nancy, and we have them a couple of days a week, and it is just a joy, as you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got a Patriots jacket on. This
Showing
is
the colors.
Super Bowl weekend,
Yes.
full of chili.
Yep.
Chili outside, hot inside, right?
Yeah. I felt the colors had to be shown here, and there's a lot of other colors, but I felt the Patriots colors, and there's about 6 or 8 of us here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it here from the American Legion and the 3rd annual Legion Riders Chili Cook-Off. Thank you for joining us. Okay, the results are in, and Terry was dethroned by her sister Julie this year in the results. Anyone interested in jumping into this year's town election have to get started very soon. The deadline to pull papers for any of the open seats is Thursday, February 16th. The town clerk's office will be open until 5 p.m. to give people a little extra time to come in and get the information they need and get the papers they must use to collect signatures. The deadline to turn in the papers with the necessary amount of signatures is Tuesday, February 21 at 5 p.m. There are a number of uncontested seats for town meeting positions. There are also some townwide seats that have incumbents running unopposed, including on the Planning Board, Board of Health, and Board of Health. The town election will be held on Saturday, April 8th, and voting will be in the high school gymnasium as usual. A group of citizens gathered at the Grandview Farm this week to discuss the grassroots efforts to fight against Citizens United, the U.S. Supreme Court decision that said money was a form of free speech or corporate money. BNEWS Director Rich Hosford went to check it out and has this report.
This week, a group of residents gathered at Grandview Farm to discuss what is becoming a national movement to fight against the influence of big money in politics and the U.S. Supreme Court decision that stated money is a form of free speech.
The gathering tonight is about American Promise. That's a national organization that's working to overturn the Citizens United Supreme Court ruling of 2010. And that was to, the Supreme Court in a 5-4 ruling made corporations equivalent to have the constitutional rights of people, and it also said that money is the same thing as speech. And those two things put together allows corporations to have free speech or free money, and so money is flowing into the political campaigns unfettered and anonymously from large corporations, either domestic or international, and influencing our political system.
Though only a handful of people showed up for the first meeting in town, the goal is to raise awareness, recruit more people interested in the cause, and join locals with a national effort.
So we are starting a Burlington and surrounding town association, so a local association for American Promise, which is doing this all over the country. And in Massachusetts, we're working on the 2018 to get a ballot initiative on the 2018 ballot to have Massachusetts be one of the, currently there are 18 states that have said we're supporting a 28th Amendment, and American Promise is working throughout the country to work on 20 states, Massachusetts being one of them, so that in the 2018 election cycle, we'll try to get 20 states all with that same ballot initiative to tell the Congress that the country is ready for this initiative to overturn Citizens United and go back to the way it was with campaign finance reform.
So what is the proposed 28th Amendment? So far, it's a work in progress, but the goal is clear.
The 28th Amendment, we're working on that. So in parallel, one of the things that American Promise is doing is has a group working on the specific language. But the fundamental details is that corporations would not have the constitutional rights of people. It would go back to a century's worth of campaign finance reform, where the corporations were able to donate money, and individuals were able to donate money to campaigns, political campaigns, but in a restricted and regulated way, so that it wasn't unfettered donations.
Proponents of the 28th Amendment say that the effects of Citizens United have already been felt, and perhaps most poignantly on the local level.
So there's a couple. There's you can see in the state elections, people from outside coming in, and we have outside of the state money coming in and influencing what locally Massachusetts might want to do from external. There's things like global warming, clean water, any sort of environmental protection, that sort of thing. That money, the money that is influencing the candidates, causes those bills that most people think, why isn't this getting done? Because there's influence in politics.
Larry said there's a lot of interest among Americans to stop the influence of big money in politics, and he believes this movement will continue to grow.
80% of American citizens, whether they're Republicans or independents or Democrats, have been over many, many years in favor of this. It's the Congress that is actually taking the money and getting the advantage of the extra money that's not in favor. But in many election assessments, the people are 80% in favor of this, and I see that when we go out and we have tables talking to people. It's just everybody runs to this, and it's a very easy thing to get people excited about.
Ben Gubitz, who's been with the organization from its early days, says American Promise is growing fast and steadily.
I actually joined American Promise right at the beginning. We had a very small staff and continue to have a relatively small staff. We're growing rapidly. So I was one of the first ones to join. This was about 16 months ago. American Promise is a new organization. We've been in official existence since our launch in January of last year. So a lot of what I do is engaging the citizens, what Larry was talking about, the 8 out of 10 Americans that agree with us on this issue, that want this reform to happen. The energy is out there. So a lot of what I do is provide the infrastructure to harness that energy and bring people together so they can enforce the will of the people and have the elected officials listen to them.
Finally, Gubitz outlined what volunteers and concerned citizens can do to help.
Yeah, lots of things, right? So we'll be calling on our members of Congress, calling on even local and state elected officials to do everything within their power to support this 28th Amendment. You hear a lot of folks that say, oh, you know, Massachusetts, we have all Democratic congressional delegation. We're all good on that. And that's really not the case. What we're hoping to do is to build our congressional delegation up the champion scale. So many supporters, and that's okay, but we want them all to become champions. And that's the whole idea around this effort here in Massachusetts and getting Massachusetts ready to ratify. So we'll be doing media blitzes, writing letters to the editor, writing op-eds, calling our Congress people, and as Larry mentioned as well, the statewide ballot initiative, which we hope to put on the ballot in 2018, which will involve lots of signature gathering and community organizing in places all over Massachusetts.
At Grandview Farm, I'm BNEWS Director Rich Hosford.
One opposing view is that labor unions and nonprofits should also be excluded from heavy money donations into politics. As we shovel out from yesterday's snowstorm, it's good to know if more is on the way. We go now to BNews weatherman Peter Brown in our weather center for this week's forecast. We'll also check out the community calendar with Ian Casciola to see what's happening in Burlington.
Well, hello everyone. This is Peter Brown with a look at your weather for the next 7 days. And I've got to tell you, look at this. Starting out our period, we're going to see temperatures well below average. We're going to see starting on Friday after our big snowstorm that we had, a high of only 19 degrees and a low of 8. And I've got to tell you, this is definitely much different than what the models were projecting about a week ago when you saw our last forecast. Our old models were predicting a very warm end to the week with rain and temperatures in the 60s, if you remember. And by about Sunday and Monday last week, that completely changed. And of course, we got what is now on the ground, unfortunately, now. So we're back to winter, unfortunately, here as we get into the middle of February. But if you can notice, the best thing, though, one bit of hope here is look at how long the days are getting now. Sun is now setting after 5 o'clock, so that's great. So you do have a little bit extra daylight hours if you need to get out and get stuff done. But as we move ahead, I'm going to show you a little bit about what's going to be going on with our weather for the next 7 days. And unfortunately, for any of you who are not big snow lovers, this isn't going to be the best week for you coming up. We're going to see a series of what we call Alberta Clippers, which are, again, these very fast-moving but weak storm systems that are going to be moving through our area here in Burlington over the next 7 days or so. They're probably just going to bring, though, flurries and maybe a coating to an inch of snow here and there. However, as we get to the end of next week, another Thursday again, there is the possibility, and it's looking at the models right now, we could see another rather large and kind of strong storm making its way up the coast to here to us in southern New England, maybe along by next Friday. But that's something that we have to keep an eye on. As we know, and we've noticed the past 10 days, the forecast can really change dramatically over the course of just 48 hours. So just keep that in your mind, in the back of your mind. We may see quite a snowy week coming up ahead. So spring seems to be a little bit further behind, and looks like Punxsutawney Phil may have been correct after all. But as we move ahead, I'm going to show you a little bit back, if you remember a Valentine's Day a couple of years ago. I'm sure you definitely don't want to remember this winter, that's for sure, back in 2015. This was our Valentine's Day storm that we were getting that February when we had those 100 inches of snow. As you can see, Valentine's Day into the 15th, we saw here up in the Burlington area, again, another storm with between 15 and 20 inches of snow. So that's something we're hoping that we don't see another storm of again this winter, but definitely that gives you an idea of how stormy and how snowy Februaries can really be around here. As we jump ahead to the 7-day forecast, I'm going to show you again those kind of chilly temperatures. Look at this. We've been used to much warmer than average temperatures all through January and the first couple of days of February. But look at again, on Friday, starting off our week in the teens with a real biting wind in the departure of this last storm that's just hit us here. As you can see, getting into the weekend, by the time we get to Sunday, going to be kind of nice and temperatures in the mid to upper 30s again. But as you can see here, Monday, we may see some light snow starting out for our morning, but temperatures warming up maybe close to 40. And again, fairly nice weather conditions as we get towards Wednesday, where we see the chance of another Alberta Clipper system maybe hitting us with a coating of snow. But unfortunately, here we go, the end of the week Thursday. Temperatures very chilly again, only in the upper 20s with that chance of maybe some heavy wind-driven snow again. We'll keep an eye on that, and we'll keep you updated on that. But folks, hang in there. The official start of spring is only about 5 weeks away, so we're almost there. But get out there and enjoy your weekend.
Hello, and welcome to your community calendar. Parents, do your children enjoy Valentine's Day? On Tuesday, February 14th from 11 to 11:45 a.m., the Burlington Public Library is having a Valentine's Day tea party. There will be cookies, tea, aka juice, and Valentine's Day stories. The event is best for ages 2 through 6, but all are welcome. The event is free. For more info, visit burlington.org or call 781-270-1690. Parents, do your children like stories? On Thursday, February 16th at 6 p.m., the Barnes & Noble in Burlington is having a character story time and dinner. They will be reading the book, Guess How Much I Love You by Sam McBratney. Little Nut Brown Hair from the book will be making an appearance as well. There will also be a dinner and cupcake decorating, as well as arts and crafts. The event is reservation only, and all food selections must be reserved. Payment will be due at the event. Everyone is welcomed. For more info and to register, visit the Kids Department, main info, or the cafe at the store, or you can also visit barnesandnoble.com or call 781-273-3871. Do you remember the songs Only You, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, or The Great Pretender? On Thursday, February 16th at 7 p.m., the Burlington Public Library is having Tony Funches, who is a former lead singer of the Platters, perform. For more than a decade, Tony Funches graced stages around the world as the longest-standing lead singer of the legendary Hall of Fame music group, The Platters. Tony will perform not only the songs of The Platters, but many other timeless songs from musical artists such as The Drifters, Nat King Cole, The Temptations, and more. Everyone is welcomed, and the event is free. For more info, visit burlington.org or call 781-270-1690. This has been your community calendar. I'm Ian Casciola. Back to you in the studio.
The winter sports season is in the final stages. Before the playoffs begin, we go now to BNews sports reporter Matt DiMarzio to see how the Red Devils teams are faring.
Hey everyone, this is Matt DiMarzio here with your weekly sports report. On the ice, the Lady Red Devils varsity hockey secured a playoff place in the MIAA state tournament. They beat Melrose by a score of 6-4. The team was led by Riley Glennon and Kat Nikolopoulos, who took turns assisting each other for goals. This extended the team's winning streak to 6 games. On Saturday, the girls played Watertown and beat them in a blowout of 6-0. Glennon performed a hat trick during the game, scoring 3 of the team's goals. She also helped set up the other 3 points the team garnered that game. The girls play next on Saturday at Stoneham at 4 p.m. The boys' team also had a win on Wednesday against Melrose with a score of 2-1. They also tied Arlington Catholic on Saturday with a score of 2-2. The Red Devils had been leading early but gave up the lead later in the game. Last Wednesday, the Red Devils took care of business against Lexington, taking down the Minutemen by a score of 5-1. Their team record is now 10 wins, 5 losses, and 2 ties. The team next plays Saturday night at Stoneham. The game starts at 6 p.m. On the court, the girls' varsity basketball team had an overall good week. On Tuesday night, they came out ahead of Melrose with a score of 42-34. The Lady Devils had a strong scoring attack with 4 starters coming away with at least 7 points each. Allie Rosberg, a senior, led the charge with 10 points. This came after a close defeat against Watertown last Friday when they fell short in a 36-39 game. The boys' basketball fell short in their game against Melrose on Tuesday, coming away with 50 points to their opponent's 55. The boys had a strong start, but were perhaps thrown off after a leak in the roof caused a delay in the game. When the play resumed, they seemed to lack the same energy and were not able to keep up with Melrose. And that's it for this week's sports report. I'm Matt DiMarzio, and back to you guys in the studio.
Another week, another photo to highlight. This week's photo is over the moon. Oh, well, actually, it's more of the moon over Burlington. This early morning shot was sent in by Betty McDonough, who says it was taken at 6:30 a.m. while the sun was just starting to rise on the other side of the house. Thanks for the photo, Betty. Goes to show that early bird gets the moon. It's a cool view as well. We'd like to see your photos. They could be something you see around town, the weather outside, your own door, or even photos of your family, friends, or pets. Whatever you think is interesting and would like to share. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. And that's it from the news desk here at BNews Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with Rich Hosford, Robert Parrish, Peter Brown, Matt DiMarzio, and Ian Casciola. Thank you for joining us.